NPC says, "Just watch more television, conservatives." You know, I think it's hilarious that the people on the left do not realize that they're actually the bad guys.
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't,
Hans, are we the baddies?
Here on the National Review, conservatives should watch more television. You need your programming wrong, thinker. So this article is by Kevin D. Williamson and is probably going to be one of the stupidest things ever, but I guess we're gonna find out. Before that, a quick plug. Monetization on my account is completely disabled. If you want to join me on Patreon or Subscribestar, you can do so for as low as $1. If not, that's okay too. If you want to share the video, that also helps. If not, well, that's okay too. Any support is appreciated. Here we are. So, there's honestly a lot of irony when it comes to Game of Thrones, especially the finale. You see, a lot of people celebrated Daenerys Targaryen, the mother of dragons, the unburned, the breaker of chains, Hitler. Oh, you thought I was kidding? No, 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 my friends. You see, there is a direct and clear parallel to Daenerys, the woke, progressive, saver of minorities, and a certain bad man from World War II. As you can see here, it's a mirror image. In fact, you think I'm kidding, huh? You think I'm exaggerating. That left-wing hero, Daenerys Khaleesi, was in fact not a Hitler reference. Okay, Emilia Clarke watched videos of Hitler to prepare for the Daenerys big speeches. Need I say more? This girl was hailed as a left-wing liberal hero because she was woke. Here in Google, I typed how white people feel when helping minorities, based on a meme I once saw. Game of Thrones, and here you go. Woke, woke, woke. Saving the minorities. Daenerys Targaryen is back to save the coloreds. Oh, yes. So isn't it funny that the diverse, inclusionary, anti-slavery, white, liberal, idealistic woman who is a hero to many, so many in fact that they named their daughters Khaleesi. Have fun explaining to everyone why you're named after a maniac, a dictator. Turned out to be Hitler incarnate. It's true. You see, that is the irony here. And that is why I play the clip. Are we the baddies? It is something no left-winger will ever admit to themselves, or even say, or ask, but it is the truth. And I'm gonna point that out perfectly with this article. Specifically, more drama and comedy and less cable news. So this man wants conservatives to not watch the news, not be informed, and instead watch dramas and comedies, because that'll solve everything. The conservative movement in the United States, which identifies itself too closely with the Republican Party, what did he mean by this? Is at a cultural ebb. It is certainly fashionable to be anti-Trump. Maybe if you're mentally challenged. But American popular culture for the past 20 years, nonetheless, has been suffused with deeply conservative sentiment. Even though conservatives often fail to understand or appreciate it, we should watch less cable news and more drama and comedy. As far as I can tell, left-wing ideology has permeated like an infection or parasite into society and culture, and you're always having left-wing ideology shoved down your goddamn throat. It may be a matter of sloganeering. The Republican Party, in its current goofball nationalist manifestation, has a four-word slogan, "Make America Great Again," but conservatives ought to instead to appreciate the three most conservative words ever spoken. Vast stage that is HBO. Winter is coming. The storm is always coming, and in that situation, as many of our fellow citizens are acutely aware right now, is not confined to wintertime. What? What are you saying? This is some dumbass drivel. Winter is coming. The storm is coming. Trust me, friends. I see it on the horizon. What's the storm then? I don't know. But it's coming. You see that storm? It's orange. It's bad. That's what the late night television comedians told me to say. You should watch more Stephen Colbert. He'll tell you what to think. He tells me what to think, so I don't have to. Margaret Thatcher famously insisted that the facts of life are conservative. They pretty much are when you really think about it. Great art, even merely adequate popular art, begins with those facts of life and the timeless truths embedded in them. Hence a piece of highbrow television, such as The Wire, which was created by the numbers progressive, but could have been written by Charles Murray and Thomas Sowell, and produced by the Manhattan Institute, exploring the serial failure of institutions, city government, labor unions, public schools, and media, in a largely black city with a democratic monopoly on political power. The show's creators did not intend to create a conservative critique of the failures of urban progressivism, but they could not help themselves. Maybe because that's the truth. Maybe because Democrats destroy everything they touch. Every city run by a Democrat becomes a hellhole, a shithole, full of homelessness, full of crime, full of drugs. And often, yes, they are majority minority. There's some doublethink if I ever heard it. The fact is, if a largely black city with a Democrat monopoly is a shithole, it is Democrats' faults and it is the community's faults. Okay. The same phenomenon is observable all over popular culture. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, reimagining Batman as a kind of historic Straussian, who in the beginning of the series, a few years after 9/11, countenances torture and illegal extradition methods to protect the public that must be kept in the dark about how things get done, who faces off an Eastern terrorist cult targeting New York City, an amped-up version of Occupy Wall Street, and most famously and perhaps most immediately relevant, an unhappy loser that shows he can shut down a city with a couple of bullets. Okay, yeah, you're full of shit. First of all, this is so typical of soy boys. Here, my friends, I have a counter-signal meme. It is still a concept I need to make a video about, but for now, here's the dilly. Counter-signal memes are basically satire that exposes the enemy for their own stupidity. Here it says, "Oh man, isn't this election just like when Voldemort faced Harry in the Deathly Hallows? I am physically unable to talk about real-world issues without correlating it to level-entry geek media, because I'm so disconnected with reality that I need to use pop culture as a motivator to care about anything. This is what Twitter wants. Please buy my Zelda clone on itch.io." And here's a soy boy hipster. So he goes on to complain about several TV shows and somehow says they had conservatism in them. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. I think this person is like almost not asleep, but still dreaming in that they see that there is a conservative theme to the world and there is good facts, but they have to reject them because they're a leftist. So then he goes on to talk about different periods that movies and television have gone through. For example, we had stuff about Vietnam, anti-war messages, and the like. And then there was return to normalcy after the war, the horrors of the Great Depression, family shows, and commercialism. So he goes on to say, none of those past generations were wrong to be anxious about the things that commanded their attention, and we are not wrong to spend so much time thinking, / not quite thinking about the fragility of democratic institutions. When they say democracy, they're really just looking for an excuse to not say what we have, a constitutional republic, and that republic is what this country is. The creeping anarchy at the edge of social complexity, or the shadowy intersections of power and evil. As the storm bears down on the southeast Atlantic coast, one of the remarkable features of American life will come into play. Many of the nation's utility companies have formed a network of interlocking regional mutual aid compacts among themselves, and in times of crisis, trucks and linemen from around the country will roll into a disaster zone, one of Burke's little platoons in dramatic form. At the same time, the power that be in the city of the state of New York and all their vast resources cannot make the trains run on time. The funny thing about that, you see in Japan, the trains run on time. In fact, 5 seconds late is considered a disgrace. How is it that an island nation like Japan has more reasonable, well-behaved citizens than a place like America? Does it have anything to do with our demographics? Could it have to do with our culture? Maybe it's the fact that the left wing's insane and encouraging people to not be orderly, conservative citizens of society. I would think it's the latter. In times of crisis, Americans never know they're going to get the cool competence of Jack Ryan or the team from Dunder Mifflin. You take that back, you son of a... How dare you! Dunder Mifflin is a reference to The Office. It is the name of the company. And here's the thing. If he had actually seen The Office, which I assume he has not as an actual person who finished the series, their department at Dunder Mifflin, they are the most successful sales office. Despite a dying industry, time and time again throughout the whole show, they survive because they make the most sales and they provide the best customer service. You're an idiot. You really are an idiot. You use all this fictional bullcrap to make your points, but you don't even understand them. And that's the biggest lesson here, which I'm going to get to in a second. Hence the anxiety. What we know is winter is coming, and what we have done. The motto of the Coast Guard is Semper Paratus, always prepared. If conservatives are looking for a definition of good government, that's a pretty good one. It isn't very dramatic, but then nobody really wants to live in the kind of life that HBO would make a show about. So his convoluted and brainlet point is that conservatives need to watch more television, or else Daenerys will happen, aka Hitler, without realizing that it is in fact the left who are the baddies. They celebrated Daenerys. They loved her. She was a hero because she represented a diversity, minority, and inclusion, and all that left-wing garbage. And she turned out to be Hitler, just like actual Hitler, who was left-leaning. Socialism. He was a socialist. Now, technically, he was a centrist, but frankly, he was a socialist, so he was a leftist. But you know what, my friends, that pretty much sums up the story. The NPCs want us to watch more TV and be programmed. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? What do you think about conservatives? Should we all watch more TV? Whether you're liberal or center or whatever, do you think you need to be programmed more? Be sure to let me know. Now, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar for as low as $1. All links are in the description. I have PayPal, I have Bitcoin if you're interested in that. If you do join on either Patreon or Subscribestar, you do get access to Fight Club. It is a Discord server in a pretty fun place. Sharing the videos always helps, so if you find it enjoyable, if you like the video, post it on social media. Show it to the normies. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.